The story starts with a tale of a beautiful child born in a famished village. Her birth is celebrated by the villagers as a blessing in the midst of their situation. However, an illness falls upon the child. Her parents come to know about an enchantress who can heal any illness. In desperation, they bring their daughter to her. The enchantress heals the child and even leaves her with a gift of second sight. The villagers come to her to have their future read. She can predict passings, and it seems that she is also gifted with another power, seemingly to enchant other people, even animals, to their own demise. She is so powerful that even her own father cannot escape it. With one look from his child, he ends up shoving a flaming hot metal in his own throat, ending his life. Upon discovering her power, the child's mother decides to bring her back to the darkness that gave her her gifts. She is exiled to the woods with no one but herself. The scene cuts to our main character, Gretel, and her brother, Hansel. They walk through the woods to go to a rich lord in the village, seeking employment to help sustain their daily needs. However, she discovers that the old man is not looking for a housekeeper, but a woman to satisfy his worldly pleasures. This disappoints Gretel, and she goes back home, unemployed. Her mother seems very disappointed at this, as they are really in a bad situation right now. She tells Gretel that she can no longer stay in their house, as there is no more room and food for her. Gretel's father has passed away, so they do not have anyone to provide for them. Moments later, her mommy slams an axe into the table, shouting for Gretel to be gone. Gretel and Hansel fled their home after this, exploring the woods for somewhere to be. They find a house in the middle of the forest and take refuge there. However, it seems to be a witch's lair, and the witch catches them. Luckily, a man shows up and slays the witch, saving the two. The man is a witch hunter. He helps them get a meal and guides them where to go, giving them a map. The siblings continue their journey. They walk day and night without anywhere to take refuge. They are already very hungry. They stumble upon some mushrooms on the way and check if it's safe to eat. The mushrooms don't seem poisonous, so they decide to take it. It is indeed edible, but it seems to have psychedelic effects, making them groggy and trippy. Moments later, they see a house that smells of cake. Hansel is already very hungry and is unable to resist. However, Gretel is very suspicious of the place. They peek through the window and see the plentiful food laid on the table. Hansel sneaks in and eats the food, while Gretel looks out for him outside. Then, she sees an old woman behind Hansel and thinks she is harming him. However, the woman steps out after a few moments, with Hansel unharmed. She invites her inside and they have a meal. The woman offers them a bed for the night. That night, Gretel has a strange dream about the beautiful child in the tale. That tale is her favorite story. The old woman prepares breakfast for them the next morning. Gretel offers to be a help for the woman while they stay there, to repay her generosity. Hansel also offers to chop wood for her. The old woman accepts their help and teaches them about the house chores. The woman sees Gretel sneezing from the cold and teaches her how to concoct some medicine from her recipe book. The woman tells her it will also help her turn into a new woman. That night, Gretel has another dream. She keeps hearing a child's voice. Then she follows it to a basement in the house. She sees bodies of small children laid, covered by a white cloth. When she awakes, she notices the blood in her skirt. It seems that the medicine the woman gave her is working, as she is indeed a woman now. She goes out to the river to wash her garments. She keeps hearing voices around her and it's starting to bother her, suspecting that something is really wrong with that place. She tells Hansel that they will be leaving soon, expressing her suspicions. She says that the abundance of food is not right, as they never see any animals around, making her wonder where she draws the food and milk from. While cleaning the house, Gretel discovers a secret doorknob. Moments later, the woman tells her she wants to show her something. Meanwhile, Hansel is exploring the woods and keeps hearing a woman's voice. Then, he sees a woman's figure standing not too far from him. In the house, the woman and Gretel are talking. She asks her if she has been having dreams recently, and she confirms this. The woman, who has black fingers, applies some sort of salve in her hands and picks up a piece of wood. She passes the salve to Gretel, and she applies it to her hand as well. Gretel feels something upon applying the salve. Then, the wood that looks like a broomstick makes a sudden movement. The woman tells Gretel that it seems to like her and is responding well to her. She tells Gretel to tell the stick what to do, stating that she knows Gretel has talked to things before. Gretel looks at the stick, and it suddenly stands, as if it has just been awakened. The woman is impressed and tells her that the stick is awaiting its master. Gretel touches the stick as if she is still trying to absorb what is happening. Meanwhile, Hansel is sitting outside, sharpening a saw, as if he is in a trance. Gretel walks outside and notices that the trees around seem to be responding to her now. It makes sudden movements, as if waiting for her to tell it what to do. She motions her hand and the tree follows. Gretel is amazed at the new power she gained. At dinner, the woman tells Hansel to eat more food, but he refuses. Gretel tells him off for being rude and commands him to just eat. Hansel notices the change in Gretel. Last night she was just convincing him that something is wrong with the place. He confronts her about her sudden change of mind. He emphasizes that Gretel always taught her that when something is given out, something will be taken away. He asks Gretel what the woman will be taking in exchange for all the gifts she is giving them. He tells her he is scared now. Hansel reminds her about being afraid of taking gifts, just like what happened to the beautiful child in the tale. This angers Gretel, and she angrily tells her brother to stop talking. Then, she drags him outside and leaves him in the middle of the dark. Hansel sees a shadow of a woman in the dark. The next morning, Gretel awakens and thinks that what transpired was just one of her strange nightmares. However, she doesn't see her brother in his bed. She walks around the house trying to find him. The woman consoles her and tells her not to worry. She also emphasizes to Gretel how she has always taken Hansel as her burden, even though she is not the boy's mother. She seems to be implying that she deserves to be freed of that burden. That night, Gretel couldn't sleep, worrying about her brother, and also anxious about the true intentions of the old woman. She decides to get up in the middle of the night and check out the hidden door she discovered earlier. Surprisingly, the door leads to the basement she has seen in her strange dreams. The room has a very high ceiling and no windows. She sees Hansel standing in a corner and is relieved to find him. However, Hansel seems to be in a trance. He does not move at all. Gretel sees a pipe on one side of the walls, flowing with blood. A woman rises from the pool of blood, but doesn't notice that Gretel is there. The woman lifts a bucket filled with human and spreads it on the table. Then, she lifts up her arms, and in a few seconds, the entrails transform into food. Gretel is in shock upon discovering that the food that they have been eating all along was made from it. The scene cuts to Gretel waking up as if it was all just a dream again. However, it doesn't matter to her anymore if what she witnessed was only a dream or reality. Her mind is already convinced that something is really wrong in that house, from all her observations. The next day, the old woman tells Gretel she will be stepping out for an errand. When she gets far from the house, she transforms into a young woman, the same one that Gretel saw in her dream last night. While the old woman is out, Gretel takes out the book of medicine that the woman gave her. She brews something and awaits the old woman's return. When she comes back, Gretel is sitting at the table, waiting with a cup of tea and snacks for her. Gretel watches her eat the snacks, and as the woman chews it, she pulls a lock of golden hair tied with a ribbon. This reveals that the snacks on that table are made from... Gretel doesn't even blink when she sees this. There is no pretending between them anymore. She knows what the old woman is capable of and asks her what she did to her brother. The old woman tells her with a straight face that she's only taking her burden from her. Gretel insists that her brother is all that she has in this world, and this seems to irk the old woman. She wants Gretel's youth and power and wants to turn her into someone like herself. Gretel tries to make a deal with her, saying she can do whatever she wants with her, but only if she frees her brother. The old witch refuses this, saying that the boy is Gretel's poison. The witch insists that for Gretel to be able to unravel the power within her, all she has to do is eat her poison. What a twisted witch. She drinks the tea Gretel brewed for her and immediately knows that Gretel concocted something to put her to sleep, but it doesn't affect her at all. Then, the witch reveals her story. She takes Gretel back to the past. The setting is her favorite tale, about the most beautiful child who received a gift from the dark enchantress. The witch turns out to be the child's mother. The witch has always known that behind the child's beauty lies her rotten core. After the passing of her husband, caused by her own strange daughter, she decided to take her back to the darkness where she belonged, abandoning her in the middle of the forest. However, the child stayed with her, in her mind and dreams, haunting her with her power. The child has been tempting her with a taste of the great power that she has, and she eventually gives in. This made her eat her own, turning her into the witch that she is now. In the next scene, Gretel wakes up with her hands tied to the long table in the basement. She asks the witch where her brother is. The witch flicks her hand and opens the long curtain in the room, and a fire lights up there. The witch is now in her true form again, the younger version. Hansel is revealed inside the curtain, and the witch commands him to go kiss his sister goodnight. As he approaches, Gretel tries to talk to her brother, but he doesn't wake up from his trance, and continues to approach the fire as the witch commands. A ladder leading up to a cage is positioned right above the fire. The witch instructs Hansel to climb the ladder. Seeing as her brother is about to get burned, Gretel tries to free herself, but is unsuccessful. Then, she sees the witch's broomstick and remembers that she has the power to control it. She uses her sweat as an alternative to the salve and focuses on making the stick move. She succeeds in doing so and manages to pin the witch on the wall with her power, ultimately burning the witch and defeating her. Then, she frees herself from the shackle and manages to stop Hansel from climbing further. The next day, when the worst is finally over, Gretel talks to her brother. She decides that he needs to go back to their home, live freely, and build his own story. He cannot stay with her anymore. She is now a different woman, and wishes to use the full potential of her power for the good, and not for the darkness.